Meet Norris Frederick, former pro track athlete turned successful content creator. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Norris as we break down and discuss the various strategies he has used to grow his Instagram following to over 300,000 subscribers in a short amount of time. We also talk about his experiences working with multiple companies by producing monthly content for them. Let's roll. All right, everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. Really do appreciate it. Mchael Hudson here, and I am super excited and humbled to be here in Norris Frederick's beautiful studio in Woodinville, Washington. This is Norris. We actually went to the same college together at UW, and so he is I wouldn't say world-renowned long jumper. I mean,
some may say, some may dabble with those words.
There we go.
But I keep it humble, man. I'm just a regular guy with a good talent.
Absolutely. And I just remember, like, I went to Everett High School. You went to Roosevelt, right? Yeah. And I used to see so many like newspaper clippings of you, man. And I was just like, man, this dude's
all that was Photoshop. All of that was Photoshop. I had to pay somebody to do all that. But no, I mean, I think in high school I had a good career. I was a two-sport athlete.
Yeah.
But I just think I connected with sports a lot differently because I made those like real life situations for me, especially with track and field. So
cool, man. Well, so today I just wanted to, occasionally I'll bring some social media experts onto the channel just to kind of shed some light on content creation and just how you've grown your following. You know, I noticed you're on Instagram. You have over 300,000 subscribers and followers, and just super impressive, man. And just wanted to pick your brain today, see what strategies you use to get there, and just see what type of knowledge you can share with everybody.
Let's do it.
Cool, man.
Ask me anything, man. I'm an open book.
Let's go. So
hold on real quick.
Oh yeah. Not sponsored by A&W.
Not sponsored at all, but I am thirsty though.
So I just wanted to kind of just talk to us about like your journey of getting into social media, like how it came to be, like kind of your background into how you've just basically went all in on Instagram.
Yeah, so I ended up getting injured after the 2012 Olympic Games. In 2013, I ended up moving down to San Diego or Los Angeles. And I'm sitting on the track at Azusa Pacific. And one of my friends was like, "Have you heard about Instagram?" And I'm like, "No." "Oh, you got to get on it. You know, people are on it. They're doing their thing." So that day, I ended up making an account. And I knew nothing about it. So I can't make this up, Mike. I'm driving down the street, took a picture of a random fist fight, boom, posted it. LOL, no hashtags, nothing. Went home, made something to eat and was like, I like pasta. Boom, took a picture of it. And I was doing that for a few months. And all of a sudden, people started commenting, being like, "Are you a professional athlete or a foodie, a critic? Like, what is it?" And I'm like, "I don't know," right? So fast forward, I ended up coming back here to Washington to finish out my career. And at the time, I'm just posting like wildfire. And Odwalla or Naked Juice, one of the two, sent me a message and was like, "We love your feed." And I'm like, "Do you though?" "We love your feed, and we were wondering if we could do a post with you." And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, it's like 2014. They emailed me a gift card to go to the local QFC and pick up these 2 protein-filled, whatever drinks. And they were like, "We just need you to post it on your Instagram." At this point, I had been posting like wildfire, so I'm up to like 18 or 15,000 followers. Don't know how they came. I couldn't even tell you. And I get the drinks and I go back to the indoor track and I set the drink down. I can't make this up. I set it next to me. And I said, "Coach, take the picture." And I pretended that I was stretching. Snapped the picture, I posted it, and then walked away from my phone. Went to practice, did my thing. I get home, and I'm thinking to myself, like, let me see what's going on in this Instagram space. I got another message from this company saying, like, "We love what you did. Like, the post is doing really well." It wasn't. It really wasn't.
Well, like a couple likes here.
Yeah, bro. Like, I think I was averaging like 59. Right. No, maybe like 150 to 200 likes.
Okay.
And that one did I think it did maybe like 300. It wasn't like a huge, like, "We want to do it again with you, yada, yada, yada." And I'm thinking like, okay, like this was light work. And plus I enjoy the drink. So they were like, what's your address? And I'm thinking like, about to send me a case? It's nothing. So I give them my address that week, like towards the weekend. It was like a Friday. I go and check the mail. And there was a check in there for $750. And I looked at it and I was like, this can't be real. So I was like, there must be a mistake. So I contact my girlfriend and she was like, no, like people are being paid to post on social media. And I'm like, oh. And then from there, I just never looked back. The difference between a contract with sports and a contract with social media are night and day. And I'm so familiar with the sports contracts and the things that you aren't able to have access to, that when the conversation came with contracts with social media, because it was so new, these contracts were open-ended. So yeah, it literally changed the entire way that I focused on social media that day.
Wow. So you're basically started from scratch 2014 and now we're
Mhm.
here in 2022. So like I know that kind of triggered something inside you to basically go all in. So what were some strategies you used like at those beginning stages for your growth to where you are now?
So the strategy that I used then and the strategy that I use now are the same. Nothing about my everyday life should change. My everyday life at that point in my career as a professional athlete was so different than what anybody else had going on, to the point where I could just post about my regular life. And it was so vastly different than what a normal person was dealing with that it was like intriguing. And I was realizing that. So as a professional high jumper and a professional long jumper, I could now bring in things that were associated with people's everyday life. For instance, we all know Michael Jordan, right? We all know he dunked from the foul line. If you know basketball, the foul line's 15 feet away. If I told you I'm a 27-foot long jumper, how do you conceptualize that? So I tell you, an average fire engine is 25 feet long. If I'm a 27-foot long jumper, you know how big a fire engine is. I can jump further than that. So what that was doing is it was raising curiosity. So now people want to tune in to see if I am who I say I am. And I just built an entire business around that.
Wow. So with that being said, a lot of people are focused on, oh man, I need to get like followers quick. Right?
Yeah.
They don't really go all in on like what you said, you want people to feel a certain way or like raise their curiosity. So like my question is, how much of your focus was on caring about how many followers you would gain from each post compared to being like, hey, I just want to post something that's valuable or helpful for people to see?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. It became addictive. You can't put a highly competitive athlete in a space like this and not want them to attain tangible goals. And for the followers being the thing that's a tangible goal, that's exactly what I went after. You have a better chance of getting a hold of me on Instagram than you do on a phone call. Primarily because it's hard for me to make money through a phone transaction versus you liking, commenting, following, and subscribing, right? So I remember being around a large group of people before the 2016 Olympics. ESPN came out and did like a short little documentary, and we went to some of the places that I enjoy, and it was one of them was Green Lake here in Seattle, Washington. And I remember sitting there, and this girl walks up to me on camera and was like, "Who are you? What do you do?" Yada yada yada. And we're having this conversation, and she asked me for my phone number, and I was like, but I can give you my Instagram because you have a better chance of getting a hold of me on there. So I knew early on that I couldn't be distracted by the shiny things, which are like the dollar signs or the curiosity of people understanding, well, like you're famous or you're a public figure. My thing is I need to get as many eyes on me every single time that I post for this to make sense for me to sacrifice this much time and sacrifice a piece of my career to focus on this.
So when you made that sacrifice, Because I mean, growing up, you were involved in sports, you were super dedicated in track and the long jump and things like that. I mean, how did you feel when you had to basically leave that career to pivot to this social media space?
Night and day, man. I'm in therapy right now to figure out how to transition into the regular working society, because I've only known one thing. And if I'm not giving you 320% of my best effort, then I feel like I shouldn't show up. So when I bring this mentality into a space that's unidentified, I can actually pave the path any way that I want. So it's not that I was a pioneer in the social media space in terms of like the Addison Rays and the bigger influencers in this world, but in my sport, there's not one person that matches what it is that I do. So to answer your question, I stopped pushing for followers when I became the biggest men's long jumper in the world on social media. That's when I started taking the foot off the gas pedal.
Oh, interesting. Okay. And so when that happened, do you feel like that really propelled your success on Instagram, or what do you think?
No, not necessarily, because I think I view success differently than what most people may. I don't view success as followers and money. I view success as opportunities and freedom. I have the luxury of waking up when I want to wake up, show up to this office when I want to show up, do the things that I actually want to do. And I think a lot of people are predicated off the simple fact that like, well, you got where you are because you were a professional athlete. That's not the situation that it was, because if you don't run or if you don't compete in the sport of track and field, you would never know. You couldn't name more than 5 athletes in this sport. So if you didn't know who I was before the sport, then we can't base that off of this. So success to me is the freedom to actually come out and be able to experience what I want my life to look like and be like. So I go after certain things that either I was deprived of as a child or things that I've actually never got to experience. So before we got on this podcast, you asked me if I had been to Hawaii. I've never been, right? But I've been to like 48 other countries, just never been to Hawaii. But that's not far from the accessibility that I have. Like I can go there tomorrow, and again, nothing about my life should change. So, success just looks a little bit different to me.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense, man. And we will go to Hawaii. Don't worry, man.
We're gonna have to.
We're gonna do it, man. We're gonna do it. So Instagram, is owned by Facebook, so it's like one of the biggest social media outlets out there. You have other social media outlets out there like YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, the list goes on and on. So why did you decide to go all in on Instagram as opposed to the other platforms that I just mentioned? I know you're starting to go on YouTube, which is awesome, but how about the other, the other social media platforms?
I loved the fact that Instagram was so new and it wasn't identified as anything. And I got in when you weren't even able to post video, right? It was only pictures. You weren't even able to comment. You were just able to like. So as they were growing, I was growing. As newer functions were rolling out, I would come home from practice. I'd be done with practice at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I would sit in front of my computer and watch YouTube or Instagram tutorials and read up on Instagram until 8 o'clock at night. Because as a professional athlete, there's some stuff up here that doesn't quite make sense, right? I get fixated on something and then I don't stop until it actually becomes a second language to me. And that's what Instagram became. The thought of me having to reinvest that amount of time and my energy and effort into another platform is daunting. So when I'm hearing about the YouTube world and I'm hearing about the TikTok world or the Twitter world or the LinkedIn world, it's not a far and foreign concept. It's just I don't know if I have the patience to invest what I know I have to do to become great at that. So it becomes a It gets me between a rock and a hard place in that aspect.
Got it. Understood. And so with that, like, what opportunities has arisen, like, since you've been having this like monumental growth with Instagram? What doors has it opened for you?
Man, I mean, me and my team went to the NFL draft. We went to the Pac-12 tournament. We've been on the field during football games. We've had opportunities to travel across this country on someone else's dime just to create content for ourselves, like our personal vlogs and our business. You're sitting in an office right now that's being funded by a company that believes who I am as an individual, not who I am as an athlete, but who I am to my core. The cars I drive, the home I own, everything has been paid for by social media. The clothes that I have on my back right now, I have purchased nothing. Everything to me is an opportunity of growth, where I used to walk into every grocery store with a notepad, and I would write down the company's Instagram handle and go home and message them in hopes that something would work out. And then you land these whales, right? You land these whales, these monumental figures in your life where, this is a true story, Company X stipend me for a year and a half at $10,500 every single month. I was only required to post when I felt like it.
Well, you can't say the company name.
Ooh. I wish. But it gets to the point where these opportunities, man, are surreal. Like, you know, I talk with the people on my team all the time, like, what do you guys want to do today? What do you want to do this week? Where should we go this month? And I think we've all become so accustomed to this lifestyle that, like, oh, we have to go to Vegas. Oh, from Vegas, we're going to go to Indianapolis. Oh, from there, we're going to go to Arizona. And it's just like, okay, let's just get on the plane and go. But when you're talking to people that don't live in this space that we live in, they're like, I want your life so much. It literally has changed my entire life. Like, I did really well in my professional athletic career. But the amount of money that I'm making and not having to put my body through that, game changer, man.
I can't imagine, man. So, like, if you could put like a number on it or like a percentage on it, like, we have a pie chart, right? And you can put like hard work, determination, hard work, determination, luck. Like, what percentage would you put on those three things as far as like your success on social media right now?
I don't think luck has a sliver in that pie chart because I know how hard we work. Right. Dedication, I think, would probably be 80 to 90%. You would be in awe on how far you can get in the social media space by being consistent and showing up every day. I think the other 10% comes with strategic placing and being true to who you are. A few years ago, a vape company reached out and they were talking about some big bucks. And I declined it because I'm an asthmatic and I don't smoke. There's been several alcoholic beverage companies that have reached out. A tequila company, for instance, just reached out to our company and they wanted to pay $250,000 a year. And we declined because I don't do the alcohol. I couldn't even tell you the first thing about alcohol. So I think integrity and understanding who you are and what it is that you bring to the table outweighs everything else. I don't live in a space of luck, right? Like, I don't wake up in the morning hoping that good luck comes my way because I don't position my life like that. Like, I met my co-founder in the office this morning before 8 o'clock in the morning, and she's responsible for me and I'm responsible for her, right? Like, if she chose not to show up today, what can I do? If I chose not to show up today, what can she do? So it's the dedication piece. It's just knowing that you need to be persistent. And I think that's what a lot of people don't pay attention to anymore.
Absolutely, man. Totally agree with that. So, you know, we all know the content creation space is just like exploding right now. Yeah. It's like this huge wave of people just trying to get online, producing videos, producing content, whether for businesses or just personal branding themselves. And, I know that even though there's new people coming in, there's people that are quitting, people who are just jumping off the train. So my question to you is like, are there days where you're just like, dude, I just want to turn off. I just do not want to do this. And if you do face those feelings, how do you fight through that to continue forward?
You don't fight it, man. No matter what you do, winter is going to take an entire year to come back. So there's nothing you can do to rush that process. If you need to unplug, unplug. This is a game of survival of the fittest, right? Like only the strong will survive. This is the way that we look at it. If you jump ship, you're jumping ship before a miracle happens. Everybody in the room next to us understands every time that I have to post that I have anxiety. It's posting anxiety because there's certain numbers and parameters that I have to hit to keep these paychecks what they are.
Oh, interesting.
I know for a fact that without the help of the people that care about me as an individual and the people that see who I am as an individual, I couldn't do what I do on social media. It used to take me 4 to 5 hours to maintain one post on Instagram. The people that surround me and that want me to win and that see the value in me as an individual has gotten that 6 hours down to 1 hour. So the reality of it is, it's like, when was the last time that you made $13,000, $14,000 in 1 hour?
Super rare.
Right. But you also got to imagine we don't take everything that comes across our desk because we've gotten to the point where we just don't have to. And we need to be strategic about how we place our time, because for me to ask someone on a Saturday morning, like, hey, I know you want to be out with your friends, or I know you got obligations with your family, but I need you for this hour. I need you for this hour. I can't do that 7 days a week. I wouldn't feel right. So the dark side to social media is you're going to exploit how greedy you are. You're going to exploit your friends off of personal gain. And I hated that. I hated that feeling. I hated the feeling keeping people around me that I knew were bad for me just because they were able to help me out with this 1 day per week. So I started cutting things off of social media. The ability for a company to come in and be like, well, you need to post three times this week. I don't do that. If I can't keep the integrity of my page and who I am as an individual, and a company's trying to tell me what it is that I need to do, I can't be a part of that world. So we have a meeting. Every deal that comes in, if it's worth it, we'll take it. If it's not, then let's go on and figure out something else. But that's just where we're sitting at this moment.
And so can you kind of go into like, so you guys have your team, an opportunity comes in, say like a brand or a business wants to work with you through Instagram. Can you kind of go through that process? I mean, do you have like a management team that filters it first and it goes to you, or do you have like an agent or something like that? Can you kind of...
Yeah, all of the above. And just so we're clear, an agent and a manager, they're not the same. They are completely different. So my agent comes in when contracts get involved, and these contracts are worth X, Y, and Z. If they're worth more than $40,000 or $50,000, then he needs to come in because he has a contractual background. If they're under that, then my direct team and my manager can take care of that right then and there. The biggest thing is understanding what it is that you're walking yourself into, because they're going to lead with money and then they're going to follow up with the obligation. So what they're banking on is you to be blinded by the amount of money, so you just immediately say yes. What they're not banking on is you actually taking the time to read the 2 or 3 page contract. I come from the sports background where these contracts are this thick and they're putting pressure on you every single page that you turn over. And you know every page that you're turning over that they're reducing the amount of money that they're giving to you because you're becoming too knowledgeable about what they're asking.
Interesting.
I don't have that fear in social media. I can take 2 or 3 weeks to respond and nothing about that changes. I went in negotiation with the company through DM, not on the phone, not through email, through DM. And then the deal was closed and the money was in my account before I even got the product. So it's tough for a person like me to be taken advantage of contractually because that's all that I've ever known, right? So the management plays a huge role because they set a barrier and they set the tone. Like my management team that I work with literally every day, they only care about the bottom line. They don't care about what happened to you over the weekend. They don't care that your company is just going through a bankruptcy. They don't care about that. They only care about the betterment of Norris Frederick. And I need people like that in my corner.
No, a lot of people don't have the beauty of, being a former professional athlete.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have like the manager or the agent. So let's just enter the mind of like the beginner content creator for a second. So what's some advice you would give them if they say, hey, I want to get involved in Instagram. I want to work with brands and things like that. What are some like beginning action steps that they can take?
Change the way you think. Everybody wants the brand new car because it's shiny and it looks easy.
Oh, yeah.
It is not easy to get these companies to pay their hard-earned money to a complete stranger. And the analogy that I'm going to use for you, Michael, is this. Think about your favorite store that you go to. Think about the homeless person that's outside that store begging for money every single day and how you walk past that individual like they don't exist. Why don't you give them your money? You have no rapport. You don't know this individual. You don't know what their intentions are with your money. So why would you sit here blindly walking into a business with nothing to offer them and telling them everything they can offer you and expect them to be like, yeah, you got 300 followers? Hell yeah, we'll give you $10,000. It doesn't work like that. Social media to this date has given people a false perception of what life actually is. Me and my team have been chasing sandy beaches with white, trees and furry land for like 4 or 5 years. It does not exist. Those are filters and editing and graphics. But the average person wouldn't know that. There's been times where I've been in Seattle and people have posted a picture of the Space Needle in clear blue skies, and I know it's pouring down rain. So your judgment gets clouded. So for the person that wants to start a social media feed and they want to work with brands, what do you actually provide these brands to actually be able to ask them for anything in return? You got to show value first. You have to bring something to the table that they already don't have access to. It was almost impossible for me to demand the money that I got from Nike because they had LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and every other big notable athlete that you could ever imagine. So I didn't come at them like that. You can't. If you're starting at 200 followers and you're dealing with people that have 2.4 million or 10 million, you can't have the same conversation. There's no equality in that space. Bring something new to the table. Yeah. So provide value, I think, would be the biggest thing. Just provide value.
Totally. And so, sometimes in, my conversation and my experience as well, there's some brands out there, like the smaller brands, let's say they probably have like 10,000 followers or less. They reach out to influencers because that's part of their marketing. They want to get exposure on their products and things like that. More times than not, they don't offer pay. So what are your thoughts on that? Like for a beginner content creator, should they accept that if it fits their mold or their identity, or should they should they get paid or whatnot? What do you think about that?
What's the harm in taking it?
Right.
I'm going to take it back to sports again. All these athletes that you see that are walking around with the Nike gear or the Adidas gear, they're not all being paid. There's something called bonus kits that actually don't give you money. You just get the gear. But I'm going to ask you a very, very simple question. You're a smart guy, so bear with me. Who's going to know if you're paid or not?
That's true. Just you.
Just you.
Yeah.
So what we got to do is remove the ego. Just because you show up with a nice camera does not make you a content creator. Just because you have 100,000 followers does not make you influential. So what happens is you see a person that's in your space and you assume they're making money because all these deals come up. Like, oh, they now have this in their video. They could have just bought that like anybody else. But now they're reviewing it and you're thinking like, well, dang, they gave them a free one. They already bought that. They're trying to get their attention and it worked on you. So don't believe everything you hear. But remove the ego and remove all the other parameters in your life that make it so you are holding yourself back from success because you can't see past yourself. That would be the best advice that I can give on that. I would take the deal. If I have less than 10,000 followers, I would take the deal.
Awesome.
Simple.
Cool. Great, man. A couple more questions for you. So as far as like Instagram growth, right? I mean, you have people that always say, hey, you should be posting every single day. You should be utilizing stories and reels and things like that. Do you have a specific strategy that you follow as far as, continue with your consistency on the platform?
Yeah, and it's simple. I run a business, man. I can't be posting every 5 minutes on social media when I got clients that demand my attention and I got people that we work with that I care about and I want them to win. Think about this, Mike. Think about your favorite TV show. Think about if your favorite TV show came on every 10 minutes. Yeah, how invested would you be in that TV show?
Very.
You'd be like, if you fell asleep, if you took a nap, a 2-hour nap, how many episodes did you miss? If your favorite TV show came on every 10 minutes, to the point that when you log on to social media, it's already been spoiled for you. So I don't believe in the ideology of posting 12 times a day or, posting every single day because that's not feasible. It's not sustainable. I don't even have that much to talk about. But a story here and there, I don't mind. I usually wake up with a quote that means something to me that I want to project out into the world for other people to feel. I'll do that every morning. If somebody that I know, if they repost something that I post or tag me in something that makes sense, I'll repost it on my story. But in order to be on my static page, that comes with a price because that is a business for me. It comes with what you're able to sustain, right? Like if you got a family, if you got a wife, if you got a husband, if you got kids, and you're choosing social media over your family, in my experience, and this is just me, I would never choose to do that. That would not be the number one priority. So if I know that right now, and I'm working to get a family, and I'm working to get a wife, and I'm working to get kids, I don't want to set myself up for failure when that opportunity comes my way. And now I have to pick and choose between social media and all the people that follow me on there versus, my family that needs me to take care of them and protect them.
Yeah, man, that's gold there because I think nowadays it's kind of like I feel there's a lot of people that are like impatient, like they're willing to do whatever it takes to get that success, so they're even willing to abandon their families. So it's good to know that your head's in the right space. Well,
the pandemic does something. It did something to people. It exposed a lot of people, and then it also created a lot of experts in fields that don't even preach what they talk about. I've never understood what a life coach does. Never. And I'm not even out here trying to like bag on them. I just don't know what a life coach does. I don't know what a social media manager does. I don't know what a social media expert does. I don't consider myself an expert in this field. I don't know everything. I just know what works for me. And what happens is, and this again is my experience, and we've worked with a ton of huge brands. Social media managers come in and try to run business feeds like they run their personal feeds. And what I mean by that, imagine you DMing a girl or a woman right now offering a free video or a free photo shoot. Odds are you're going to be labeled as a creep, a weirdo, or a fake account. Am I wrong? these are the same individuals that get these jobs at corporate companies that run their social media that will treat you the same way if you DM their brand, because now they have a weird attachment to this company's social media because it becomes their identity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So they'll leave you on red and they won't respond to you. And then you'll reach out again and be like, hey, just wanted to follow up and touch base. And they'll have a snarky comment back because they can't differentiate personal and business. So, I mean, a lot of that is just like being aware of what it is that you're walking yourself into.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. That's super powerful, man. So, I mean, what are you up to now, man? What projects are you working on?
So we are closing a few deals before the year is out.
Awesome.
Luckily enough, the airline, they love what we got going on, right? We're the client that, or I'm the influencer that doesn't request anything. I fly below the radar and I get it done for them. So we're doing another extension for another year with a bunch of different opportunities in there.
Awesome, dude.
Love it. The candy company, the one that you guys see plastered all over this place, I reached out to them in 2017 because I wanted some candy. Been with them ever since. Love them to death. They just recently flew us out to Indianapolis to help create some content for one of their other candy brands. We just got a bunch of things coming down the pipeline. We're going to go on another national content tour. I think we want to hit a few national parks and get a few leisure experiences and then get some huge metropolitan big city experiences under our belts, all for personal vlogs for YouTube.
There we go.
So, man, I think 2023 is going to be the year that we kind of kick back, we relax, we try to grow the business that we started to the point where we are turning away clients because we're just overworked. And that's been what it's been for these past few months. We've just been extremely overworked. Some weeks are 80-hour work weeks, 90-hour work weeks, but we reap the benefits getting able to get on a plane and go somewhere and just unplug for 4 or 5 days. And I have a lady that travels with me everywhere I go, and it's crazy to see where her life was 4 or 5 years ago to where her life is now, and being able to be in a space where if I leave the room with a client, like a personal client of mine, I can trust that she has my best interest at heart. Whereas a lot of people in this social media space that we've given opportunities to, they don't know how to seize an opportunity versus take advantage of an opportunity. And, her and I have both seen it month after month, year after year. So at a point this year, we had to go to Vegas again. And the obligation was we were supposed to show up to this football game, hang out on the field, meet the players, take photos and things like that. And we did. The rest of that trip, we just spent in the hotel room because it was just time to detox, right? Like, we had gone to Vegas, I don't know how many, 5, 6, 7 times this year. And it's fun, but if you haven't been to Vegas, it's high energy. You got to be on all the time. But that was just the first leg of our trip. We were gone for 10 days, spent 5 days in Vegas, 5 days in Salt Lake City. So I think our bodies were being like, you need to rest. So we were staying at this beautiful hotel that the airline put us up in. And we just took that opportunity to recalibrate. It just kind of reset. I want 2023, I want to work twice as hard and get twice the amount of opportunities and twice the experiences. And I want to walk away with that happy.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, I got one more question for you, but before I get to that, how can people find you? Which social media channels? And go ahead.
Oh, for sure. On Instagram, it's just Norris Frederick. We just keep it super simple. My website is norrisfrederick.com. Keep it super simple. The other platforms get a little tricky. My TikTok is Norris Frederick 0. And then my YouTube is Norriff, Norrif.
Gotcha.
Because somebody else took it. But if you type my name into YouTube, you'll find it.
Okay, and no worries, guys. I'm gonna put everything down in the description, so you won't have to worry. Make sure you follow this guy. So I just want to acknowledge you for a second before I ask my final question. I know we hadn't seen each other since college, right? That's like, man, almost 20 years ago. I don't want to age us, but I just want to say
I'm on the sexy side of 36.
There we go.
I'm on the sexy side of 36.
Yeah, me too. You know. But I just want to say, man, like ever since we reconnected, I can just see just why you're so successful, dude. Just because I could just tell that you're just very driven. You have direction. You just exemplify like a true leader. And I've just we reconnected like last week or like 2 weeks ago. So it's just you the way you carry yourself and the way you treat people and talk to them it's very inspiring, man. And I'm just super blessed to be able to reconnect with you, and I just really appreciate you taking the time to speak today.
Man, I appreciate that, and it's good to hear because I think you knew me at a time in my life where the whole world was catering to me when I was in college, and there's been some growing pains. So for you to see me, however many years later, and to say that, that's gonna stick with me, man, because I've made a conscious effort to not treat anyone the way that I don't want to be treated myself. And I understand the type of energy that I bring to a room and the abilities that I have to suck the energy out of a room. And I just want to show up as authentically me. I don't want to feel that people need to look at me any other way outside of just like, he's a cool dude. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, anytime, dude, anytime. And one final question I like to ask all my guests this. So let's just say, you say you're 36 right now. So let's just say 30 years from now, the 66-year-old Norris Frederick, if you were able to meet him, what would you want that 66-year-old to say to you? First thing out of his mouth.
It's good to see you. I want me 30 years now to look me in my face and say, good to see you. I'm glad you made it.
Nice.
And then I'm talking about like at the destination that I'm meeting my yeah, but yeah, I want that.
Okay.
I don't want to retire, right? I don't think I would like that. I've tried it before. It wasn't fun for me. I think what we're doing now is considered work, but not work. And I think I can keep this up for as long as I am having fun. I stopped competing at the professional level because I wasn't having fun. Right now, this is fun. So if I could see myself 30 years from now, hanging out, fat.
Still sexy, though.
Still sexy, though. On the sexy side of 30 or 67. I would just want to say, I was waiting for you. And I hope you enjoy it. Have fun. That's what I want my 30 years from now self to say to me.
Yes, sir. Awesome, man. Well, hey, I appreciate it again. Thanks for allowing me to use your studio today for the this YouTube channel. And again, I'm going to leave all the links down in the description. Make sure you follow Norris. And until we meet again, keep crushing it.
Cool.
Sweet, man. That was awesome, dude.
No doubt, bro.
Thanks, bro.
I got you.
That was great, bro.